Thank you. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Greenberg,
Present.
Mrs. Bacon,
Here.
Mr. Laney,
Here.
Mrs. Matura,
Here.
Mrs. Case.
Here.
Next on the agenda is approval of agenda. Dr. Bales.
Good evening. Items approved by consent will not come up for discussion during the meeting, but will be approved when the agenda is adopted. This is possible since members of the governing board receive the agenda along with backup materials at least 24 hours prior to the meeting and have time to review and consider all items. Prior to the agenda being adopted, members of the governing board or audience may ask that an item be removed from the consent agenda and brought to the floor for discussion at the appropriate place on the agenda. I would like to offer the agenda as posted with the following exception, moving G8 to H1.
Does any member of the governing board wish to have an additional item removed from the consent agenda? Does any member of the audience wish to have an additional item removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mrs. Case, may I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda and recommended consent agenda items G1 through G7 and G9 through G14?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is governing board statements, and I would like to start with Mrs. Bacon, if Mrs. Bacon is ready.
I am ready. I don't have much of a voice tonight because I am at home with COVID, trying to recover from this illness. So I did want to be here tonight, however, to participate in the meeting and also congratulate all of our schools for the amazing news that we got with their school letter grades. I can't even begin to imagine how excited our staff and administration was about this. But I'm just so grateful that we have teachers, principals, support staff, and administration that support students in their learning. And the growth that we've seen in students is really remarkable. And I just wanted to congratulate the entire district, including parents who have helped us get to this place. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Case?
Dittos to what Mrs. Bacon said. I was able to attend Broadway Under the Stars, and I just have to give a shout out to the students. And the performances were all amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and to think that they're high school students, and I mean, it really is Broadway in so many ways. It's wonderful. And as we heard tonight, these young people from middle school, I mean, this is where it starts, and they're trained from elementary school to sing in choirs, and it's just really exciting the opportunities these young people have. And I don't know if Mr. Laney would say anything, but the costumes on stage were amazing, and his wife was in charge of all the costume being done. I think it was amazing. So, and I talked to her, and I was just, I guess it's called Six, the Henry VIII, Six Wives. It's called Six, and those costumes, I'm a seamstress, and to see what she did was totally amazing. So I just have to give her kudos in public. Mrs. Laney did a fabulous job, and I know someone who did it 20 years ago, and it's a lot of work, and to do what your wife does. So kudos to that, and to all the fine arts program in our district. I love what these young people can come up with, whether it's artwork, singing, pottery, whatever they do, it enriches their lives and helps them in all of their aspects of their schoolwork. So thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Greenberg?
Not to sound like a broken record, but I also want to give a shout out to all our schools. I know we're going to have a more extensive look at our school letter grades at our next meeting, but to see the growth that we saw, particularly after all of, I don't know if chaos is a great word, but I suppose it fits, that we've had in terms of the impact of the pandemic. Um, it is just marvelous to see the growth that we are seeing, and that is a tribute to every teacher, every principal, every administrator, every staff member, but mostly, of course, to our students and also to the parents supporting them. So just can't wait for the presentation. And like us all, was able to go to Broadway Under the Stars. I've been complimenting Mr. Laney to send those compliments to his wife. The costumes were amazing as someone who performed in high school and costume crewed in college and didn't it the costumes were probably the most spectacular of, I think, the 18 years minus pandemic that I've been on this board and attending the performances. So I do hope, and again, it is a tribute to our fine arts teachers, and I hope that everybody who has an opportunity to attend performances at their students' schools go. I mean, you will just be blown over by the talent.
Mr. Laney?
So I feel that the letter grades are definitely a testament to the resiliency of our kids and the ability of them to bounce back, and to our staff working really hard to help them bounce back. So I was excited when I saw that. And as far as Broadway goes, Broadway Under the Stars, to give credit to where credit is due, and I already thanked him for this. Many of you may not know this history, but Mr. B, who was just here with Sunrise, is the whole reason that we're even involved in choir, because in middle school, when my son went to Sunrise, he's the one that convinced my son to do choir there. And then my son went to Horizon and did choir all 4 years, and my wife volunteered at the beginning of that to do costumes. And now my daughter is in it too. So you don't realize all the times as a teacher or as a person how many lives you actually affect with the things you do. So the real credit should go to Mr. B. So that's what I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. The letter grades, when we got notice of those, it was really exciting because we've seen the work that everyone has been doing, and everyone has been supporting our students, and the extra work that people have been putting in with their kids at home, with the kids at school, with the kids after school. In the after school programs, we have the summer school programs to keep these kids moving and keep these kids growing. And to see it pay off was really exciting. And we saw the work, and sometimes you don't see the work pay off in terms of a letter grade, because you just never know how that one day of one test is going to turn out. But to see it all come together, it was really, really a great news to have. And I am looking forward to us getting more in depth and into those numbers with everyone. Also, I just wanted to talk about a few things that were going on since our last meeting. We did have a United Parent Council meeting a few weeks ago, and we heard about programs that parent groups do across our district. And our parent groups are so involved throughout all of our schools, and the programs that they are bringing to the schools is really exciting. And I know there's the outreach team at UPC that tries to go into schools that don't yet have parent groups. But it was a great experience just to hear from so many different schools about what they're doing. So I appreciated that event. Thank you. I was able to get out to a middle school show in addition to Broadway. Always love seeing the arts in action. And just yesterday, I got to see all of the marching bands perform at the Marching Band Showcase, and that was really a great day. It was nice weather. We had all of the middle school and elementary school band kids out there getting to see what comes next if you stay with your program, because there's such exciting things that happen as you grow within your art program. Also, Sunset Canyon had a Love Our Schools Day, which was so fun to see. The activity going on at Sunset Canyon that day, they had an an event with lacrosse. The kids got to participate in a lacrosse training program. The same time, the parents were out there, and the teachers were out there, and the staff were out there doing work alongside with community partners. And it was so great talking with these community partners about why they were out there that day to support the school, and the difference that they can make in conjunction with our own staff. It was just a great day to get out there and see the changes. And I think that's it. So thank you very much. Next on the agenda is awards and recognitions. Dr. Bales.
Thank you, President Ventura. At this time, I'd like to invite those members of the governing board who are in person to move to the front of the dais at this time. It's always a pleasure to recognize both students and staff accomplishments, and Mr. Drogi will MC our events this evening.
Good evening, President Matura, governing board members, Dr. Bales, members of cabinet, and attendees both in person and virtual. Tonight, we have one staff recognition to share with you. Our second recognition, the Paradise Valley Education Association's Recognition of Professional Standards Award for Teachers, will be moved to the next governing board meeting. Our honoree this evening is the Paradise Valley Education Support Professional of the Month. PVSEA President, Ms. Michelle Courtwright, is here to present the honor.
President Matura, Governing Board, Dr. Bales, and Cabinet. This is one of the highlights of my month, is being able to recognize an ESP. And this month we are recognizing Mimi Burns. She is a Technician 2 in our special ed department. And most of you know we have a very extensive special education department or program in our district. We have numerous specialty programs because we believe that every child deserves a quality education. And if that means they need an individual education plan, that's exactly what we do. And if you've ever been in a classroom, you see that the teacher and the students are working differently. There's different models, there's different tools, and people don't realize that in order to be able to provide that to each student, it comes with a lot of preparation. And we couldn't do it without ESPs in our district like Mimi. She is responsible. They call her sometimes the online shopper because she is responsible for ordering all of those things that teachers need. She takes care of invoices. She orders all the classroom, or she takes care of the classroom budgets. She takes care of mileage. She orders curriculum. So everything that a teacher uses for those students has to be ordered and sent and everything, and Mimi does that. A few years ago, there was a little glitch with our ADM, and people couldn't figure out exactly what was going on, and they kind of thought maybe we had a problem. Then they thought, well, the state had a problem, and Mimi kept going back and forth, and she figured out that it wasn't the state's problem, it wasn't our problem, but one of the programs that we were using and one of our vendors had a problem. And she pointed it out to them, they fixed it, and we were able to fix our ADM. So it's people like ESPs like Mimi that make our programs work the way they do. And it is with great pleasure that we recognize her this month.
And that, President Matura, concludes awards and recognitions.
Next on the agenda is call to the public.
However, staff members may be directed to get back to you and address individual concerns. As a reminder, the point of this and every board meeting is to accomplish the business at hand, and to be able to do so in an open and collaborative way. All in attendance are expected to observe meeting rules, as well as rules of politeness and decorum, so that we may serve as an example to our students that issues can be discussed in a respectful and civil manner.
Tonight, we had one person submit a comment card prior to the start of the meeting. She will have 3 minutes for remarks. And additionally, we do have a comment card during agenda items, and that will be recognized during the meeting. When you come forward, please state your first and last name and Kay Norris.
Greetings, Madam President Matura, Dr. Bales, and Cabinet. My name is Kay Norris. I'm a community member, have been a community member for 47 years. I'm here tonight to address you as Executive Director for the PV Community Food Bank, formerly known as PV Emergency Food Bank. We changed our name a year and a half ago because our community has changed so much in the last 30 years. So I'm here tonight first to thank the governing board and the administration, and particularly Dr. Jaros, because last year when we've been in partnership with the school district for years. You have school drives, food drives for us. We provide weekend food bags to Title I kids so they have food on the weekend. We provide supplies to the nurses with juice and crackers. And we started a new program that we send about 80 meals a month or 90 meals a month to the Palomino neighborhood. Whole Foods gave us a refrigerated van. So now that's the only way we can break into that neighborhood is to go to them. So we are in partnership and we rely upon the school drives dramatically. So not only when you weren't having in-class schools, we had 9 school food drives in the year 2019 and 20, and we only had 12 in the 2021. So I called Dr. Jaros in 21 for 22 and asked him if he could help us because we serve only the families and individuals in the Paradise Valley School District, the boundaries. So we are your community food bank and we needed help with food. And so I know that he did, he said he would, and I know he did. He spoke to the principals just to encourage their staff. We have to reintroduce ourselves every year because you have so many new principals and social workers and nurses and that work with us. Last year, we had 31 schools participate, thank you, and school food drives with 79,000 pounds of food. So that is, yeah. All of that has to be sorted can by can, but we are thrilled. With that being said, totally, we had over 400,000 pounds of food donated and it was all gone by April. We served over 60% more people in our community last year than the year before. We have opened up on Saturdays this year to try to help the working poor. We're delivering food to the Palomino neighborhood after hours at 5 o'clock when kids come out of a mentoring program and their families pick them up. So I'm here tonight to thank you, but I'm also here to ask you if you would support us dramatically in getting the word out that we need donations of food and cash. We cannot keep up numbers with the amount of donations and cash that we're accustomed to. That's why I'm here, is to ask you. It would help if we could be in your newsletter and say, we're here to serve you. And if you'd like to donate, we're here to pick it up for you. Dr. Jaros can tell you, we manage those food drives if somebody will just work with us from the schools. That's it. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Dr. Bales.
Good evening, President Matura, governing board members, cabinet, and guests. There are so many good things that happen in our district. It's just overwhelming sometimes. And so I am so appreciative to have the opportunity to lead this district. October was no exception. The numerous activities from Love Our Schools at many sites to the arts that were mentioned earlier just warmed my heart. So thank you. November is here already. And it's a National Native American Heritage Month, which honors and celebrates the unique heritage of our continent's first inhabitants. This month, the nation recognizes the contribution of Native American people have made to culture and society in the United States. We are proud to take this moment of recognition to highlight our state's own Native American people. Next has already been mentioned, a proud moment this week to demonstrate some improvement with letter grades. And it does make me proud to talk about the achievements. We have focused the last year and a half specifically on student achievement. And with, excuse me, earlier this week, the Education Department's release of those letter grades, that report provides more information. College and career readiness, student growth, and other key areas of interest, and being certainly multiple measures of student achievement. As mentioned earlier, we will present and go a little deeper in a community update at our next governing board meeting. We are pleased to share that 20 out of our schools earned an A, and 16 schools earned showed improvement overall, moving up a letter grade. And congratulations to these schools, their staff, and their students, and many thanks to the parents for supporting us in this journey of excellence. More about the letter grades and a list of our schools can be found at pvschools.net. Student achievement isn't just reflective in a letter grade, though. The journey of excellence can look different for all of our students. Being a leader of choice, there is certainly a path for everyone here in Paradise. Sometimes that path includes being recognized for athletic achievements. Sophomore kicker at Paradise Valley High School, Emily Viasica, showed that PV excellence this week when she was chosen as the Arizona Cardinals Football Player of the Week. Excuse me. Emily kicked the game-winning point-after touchdown in overtime last Friday night. Paradise Valley High School won 42-41, giving them a 7-1 record. Congratulations, Emily. Well, I'm struggling here. So I'm going to ask Dr. Jarris to please take over and finish reading my comments for me.
I'm excited to announce that the PV Schools Community 5K Fun Run will be back in person this school year. This event, encouraging active lifestyles among our staff, families, and community members, is a favorite among many of the community, and we're glad to be able to bring everyone together again. Registration begins on November 7th. At that time, you can find out more information on pvschools.net. Calling all content creators, PV Schools is hosting a cybersecurity video contest open to all PV Schools students in grades 7 through 12. The mission is to create a trendy cybersecurity public service announcement. We're excited to see what our extremely talented students can come up with. More information about the contest can be found on our website or on social media. Paradise Valley Unified School District recognizes November 7th through the 11th as National School Psychology Week. The school psychologists in our district provide a wide range of services to support students' academic achievement and social and emotional well-being for ages 3 through 21. In addition, they engage in collaboration with parents, administrators, teachers, paraprofessionals, and other school personnel to identify and support the needs of students through prevention efforts, intervention planning, and crisis response. Thank you to all of our school psychologists for all the work that you do. Students in the 6th through 11th grades interested in the fine arts are encouraged to join staff on Monday, November 28th at 7 p.m. in the Shadow Mountain High School Performing Arts Center to learn more about the North Valley Arts Academy NVAA program. The event will host opportunities to experience NVAA components such as dance, music technology, theater performance, theater tech, and visual arts by touring each classroom and learning from current NVAA students. And finally, in PV Schools, we engage, inspire, and nurture students through high-quality instruction, meaningful educational opportunities, and dynamic learning experiences. One of those experiences happened this week at Crest. The Da Vinci surgical robot in-house demonstration provided students with a connection to industry professionals and insight into STEAM skills at work. Thank you to Mountain Vista Medical Center and Intuitive for supporting student success here in Paradise. More information about the demonstration can be found at our website. And that is all for superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Dr. Jarvis.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is under items for approval. First up is our construction update with Mrs. Berrigan.
President Matura, Governing Board, and Dr. Bales, we have before you our monthly construction update with the current projects that are still outstanding. The list tends to get a little bit smaller this time of year and grows as we approach the summer. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
We do have one comment this evening, Nicole Klutwick.
Hi, thank you all for being here. And again, thank you for, I know this is an unpaid job and you guys do so much work. So very, very appreciative for the work that you do here. So my question is a little bit about the construction update, but it's a little, and I wasn't sure if this goes to an item 8 or an item 14, which is where the vouchers get approved, the payments. But I'm curious of what the district's policy is on recusals when board members are financially benefiting, or at least their campaigns are financially benefiting from the vendors that we have. So for instance, we have Progressive Roofing here, and we the current budget is 1.3, a little over 1.3 million. And one of our board members who's running for reelection received $2,500 from the wife, Community Property, right, co-owner of that company. And then if certain people are elected next year, it'll actually be the majority of the board. And so what is the process for sorry, I can't say the word, for separating yourself from those votes when you have financially benefited from those vendors? Is there a policy for that? Mrs. Matura or anyone? I know you can't answer and call to the public because nobody knows what the topic is, but this isn't that. I think you can respond.
Right. So if you are done, then I'll ask if Dr. Bales has a comment or if Mrs. Berrigan.
I was just going to mention
heard-
that we'd be happy to have Mrs. Berrigan follow up with you as a follow-up.
So we don't know the policy?
There is a policy, it's called a conflict of interest policy, and she'll happy to review that with you. I don't have it in front of me, Mrs. Klutwick.
Okay. Well, in that case, then I'm surprised then that that item wasn't already separated so that the person could recuse themselves as a conflict of interest on this agenda.
On this agenda is just a construction update, just to inform us of items
Vouchers.
that were previously approved for construction and just where we are in the construction. So this is item G8, which is just an update on the construction and
So then-
construction update. So the construction update does allow us to know where we are in the process, 95% complete, which construction items across the district are happening. So that's what this item is. And so along this item, these have already been approved over the years and we're just getting updates on what the construction is.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've been told, I don't know if it's true, that Progressive has a no bid contract, which is concerning. So I guess it would have been number 14. I'm wondering why number 14, the vouchers, which I would assume paid Progressive, as well as other, I think there's $11,000 worth of donations from construction companies.
So Mrs. Berrigan will follow up with you about the policies that we have in place. Thank you. Mrs. Berrigan is going to follow up with you on your question. Thank you. Are there any questions among the board with the construction update? Seeing none, may I please have a motion to approve the construction update as presented?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval to renew existing PV contract 21-02 PV for cybersecurity products and services. Mrs. Berrigan.
Thank you, President Matura, Governing Board, and Dr. Bales. As a lead entity, PVUSD will collaborate with One Government Procurement Alliance, known as One GPA, to identify procurements that may be beneficial to our district and other public entities, which are current members of the cooperative. The PVUSD Technology Department and One GPA took the initiative to develop a contract that would address various needs of the district related to cybersecurity. The purpose of the solicitation was to award long-term contracts to qualified firms that provide these types of services. This RFP offers a broad variety of cybersecurity products and services to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data across an organization, as well as to protect the organization from a wide array of cybersecurity threats. As to the bidding process, the request for proposal is a competitive sealed bid procurement method compliant with Arizona Administrative Code R7-2-1042. This type of procurement method is commonly used to procure services, allowing the district to evaluate proposals according to the criteria set forth within the solicitation. The criteria includes method of approach, cost, qualifications and experience, and responsiveness. The selected firm or firms are awarded a 5-year contract. The district can select from the awarded list of vendors that should honor the pricing and terms and conditions outlined in the original contract. This increases the efficiency of the purchasing department and the district, making it easier for departments to process requisitions with vendors that meet procurement guidelines and in many cases offer significant savings to the district. The bidding process takes approximately 2 to 4 months. The district will advertise the bid for at least 2 weeks, thus allowing time for vendors to respond to the bid. All contracts that exceed $150,000 require governing board approval before a purchase order is approved. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
First, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the renewal of existing PV contract 21-02 PV for cybersecurity products and services as presented.
So moved.
Do we have any questions or comments? I do have a question, Mrs. Berrigan. So the way this process, thank you for explaining how this process works. So this is how we go about for bids for any contract, right? There is no such thing as a no bid contract. We follow the laws of the state, we follow the procedures, and sometimes we already have these One GPA contracts that we're able to go out under, but we are always following state policy, state guidelines, state law when we are making our contract offers?
That is correct. This was done as an RFP or request for purchase. There are other ways that procurement can be done, but we are always following procurement guidelines, both in the administrative code for the state of Arizona as well as following Title 15, which is education code.
Thank you. No. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is gifts and donations. And we appreciate all the gifts and donations that come to our district. And sometimes they come in time, as we have seen in some of our schools lately with Love Our Schools, and sometimes they come with items or cash donations. So I'd like to highlight some this evening. This evening I wanted to highlight Copper Canyon Elementary School PTO did donate $1,000 for copy paper for their school. Desert Trails Elementary PTO donated outdoor tables for school use for almost $9,000 for their outdoor tables. Dorito Partners, Inc. donated to Echo Mountain Intermediate School, and they donated $1,000 of items for their school store, their Caught Being Kind school store. And I know students really appreciate the opportunity to go shop in their school store with their programs like that. So I'm sure they are excited to see new items in their store. Mercury Mine Elementary Parent Teacher Group donated a mobile sound system for school use for about $6,000. Thunderbirds Foundation donated $1,000 each to girls golf at Horizon and Pinnacle High Schools, and donated $1,000 to boys golf at PV High School. We also had a donation from Attitude is Free to $1,000 to Pinnacle High School for the Pinnacle Crazies Club. And Sonoran Sky Elementary PTO donated about $1,000 for substitute teachers. So thank you, everyone. If you're listening tonight, thank you for your generous donations to our district. Our students greatly benefit from all that you do on behalf of our schools. May I please have a motion to accept the gifts and donations as presented?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. There are no items for discussion this evening, and next on the agenda is a call for executive session. May I please have a motion to call for executive session?
Move the governing board call for an executive session in accordance with Arizona Revised Statute 3843103A5, which reads as follows. Discussions or consultations with designated representatives of the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its representatives regarding negotiations with employee organizations regarding the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of employees of the public body. The purpose is to meet for instruction and direction.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. It is 7:38 p.m. We are recessing our regular meeting to go into executive session. We will reconvene our regular meeting after the executive session is over. Thank you. It is 9:14 PM and we are reconvening our meeting. May I have, next on the agenda is instruction to administration. May I please have a motion?
Move that governing board instruct the administration regarding negotiations with employing groups as directed in executive session.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Before we adjourn, I would like to remind you that the next regular board meeting will be held on Thursday, November 17th at 7 PM. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Meeting adjourned.